Well, hello everyone, Loc Bird Lady here, coming to you guys with a quick video. And in this video here, first off in the beginning, before I say anything else, I want to apologize for the sound quality of the video. Something is going on with my microphone port in my camera, on my camera. So it won't take my wireless mic, it won't take my wired lapel mic. The only mic that it will take is my Rode mic, and my Rode mic is a more powerful mic. Hi sweetheart. This is Catherine for those of you who are new. It will only take my Rode mic, and my Rode mic is a more powerful mic, so it picks up everything. It picks up the birds in the background, it picks up the fan, it picks up everything. So I apologize if there is some distortion or some echoing, or it sounds a little grainy. I promise you the quality will get better as soon as I find out what's going on with my mic port on my camera. With that being said, in this video here today, I am going to talk about why I personally am not offended by the term dreadlocks. It's going to be a long ride, but I'm going to try to make it a smooth ride. So let's jump right into it. If this is not your first time, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. I hope that you do decide to join the family and stay by hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and ringing that bell. Now, this is a very diverse channel. I talk about all types of things on this channel. Now, if you are specifically here, you clicked on this video, I guess you're specifically here for the Loc videos. So if that is your cup of tea, make sure you do definitely turn on that notification bell so you will be notified. You will not miss when I post Loc-centered videos. I haven't been posting a lot of Loc videos lately, just to be honest, but I do have a lot of Loc videos lined up that I am going to be doing in the very near future. It just took a lot of research on it. I've been researching this topic since 2017. I just like to be thorough, and I like to have the facts, and I want to give you quality content. Let me protect myself. This video may actually contain copyrighted material like photos, news broadcasts, things of that sort. The use of this copyrighted content, it does fall under the fair use guidelines, so under section 107 of the Copyright Act. Just trying to put that out there, put that in the video so that I can protect myself. So let's get back into the fun stuff. So I just want to say that you're probably going to see me pop in and out of the video in different set of clothes because my coughing got really bad when I was trying to record it the first time. And so I had to break it up in a couple of days because it was just too much on my throat and my voice trying to do this video. And plus, as I was editing it, I did find a lot of things that I left out and that I just want to go and interject and put inside of the video. So if you see me with different clothes on, different glasses on, just different hairstyle, whatever, it's just because this video was split amongst a series of days trying to, not put too much strain on my voice as well. Not to try to so I wouldn't put too much strain on my voice, and so that I can put in some information that I actually forgot. So don't think you're crazy if you keep seeing me just swap out clothes, and I apologize because I know that's probably annoying and it's really weird, but I just wanted to just give you a heads up on that. So again, make sure you turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any Loc videos. Alright. Now, I don't know how long this video is going to be. This video, I have recorded this video more than 10 times, I know for sure. I definitely have edited it exactly 6 times. The reason I know is I still have the files located on my MacBook. So I always made sure I cut out a lot of the information because I want to keep the video under 25 minutes. There's no way that I can do this topic the justice that I want to do it, and hopefully everyone will leave here with a better understanding in less than 25 minutes. There's a lot of information to unpack. So I said it's going to be however long it's going to be. You saw how long it was before you clicked on the video. So just sit back, relax, get you some tea, get you some coffee, get you some ice cream, get you some chips, get you a sandwich, make you a sandwich, popcorn, whatever you need to get through this video. I promise you it is going to be quality information and you won't be disappointed. I just have a lot of information to cover, and I don't want to do it. So, another disclaimer is, I already talked with Liz. I have a really bad cough right now. And my chest, I just have some problems with my breathing. So if it sounds like I'm wheezing or if it sounds a little choppy, it's because, you know, I either had to cut out a part because I was coughing. I have a hole in my mouth now to try to help open up my chest and help with the coughing. So my apologies in advance for that. And again, you know, I do have my parents in this video with me because it's bonding time, and I'm trying to kind of multitask, do this video and bond with them. So Danny is on the other stand, so you hear him in the background, but he'll probably fly over here if he feels like it. You know, he's a little moody sometimes, so sometimes he likes to stay to himself. I just leave him alone. He one of them kind, y'all. But Casper is mama's boy at heart. And so he's always going to be on me. As much as I want him to stay on his stand, he's always going to be on me. Are you going to tell the people hello? And he's always going to try to get my wedding ring. So let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this video. Now in this video here, the first thing that I want to say is I will be using the term locks, dreadlocks, and dreads interchangeably. That's just how I speak. Now this video is going to be an amalgamation of different things, but it's going to mainly focus on that topic of the term dreadlocks. I'm going to break it down into 4 parts. I will put timestamps in the description box below, so if you just want to skip over certain parts, you will have time. Just check out the description box. There will be timestamps there for you. Now the 4 parts I'm going to break this video down is, the first part is going to be my thoughts and personal experiences with having this hair and the term dreadlocks. The second is going to be how society views this hair and different kind of laws that are affiliated or associated with having this type of hair. The third section is going to be definitions and just breaking down definitions and examples. And the 4th part is going to be probably the longest section, which is going to be the history of dreadlocks. Not the hair itself, but the term dreadlocks. Ugh. So as you can see, I haven't ignored your comments. So many people ask about my hair, why I won't wear my hair down, how long my hair is. This is my hair down. So I hope you're satisfied because it's hot in this room and I'm about to pull my hair up. So this is my hair down. Alright, now this is so much better. Now people ask me all the time why I haven't hide my hair, why I never do videos with my hair down. It is because I have 312 locks that in the back, they come down to the middle of my back. They are heavy, they are thick. You saw it for yourself. They are hot. So, yeah, that was just a little treat for you guys that have been asking about my hair, how long my hair is and everything. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. In this video here, I don't want to tell you not to be offended by the term dreadlocks. I mean, we all have different experiences. We have different backgrounds. I believe that what a person is offended by is 110% subjective. I can't tell you what to be offended by. All I can do is give you the facts. Now, once I started researching this topic years ago, since 2000, I've been researching it since 2017. You can't have a cough drop, babe. You can't have a cough drop. You can't have a cough drop. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, but you can't have one. I've been researching this topic since 2017, and one thing that I realized is the internet is a black hole of information, and most of that information is a misinformation. So we just gonna talk. I think that we wear this hair, especially nowadays, we wear this hair more as a hairstyle, again, not as a lifestyle, especially Western cultures, and we don't really understand the history. We don't really know the history of of the hair itself, and how. What I found about the term dreadlocks, if you really knew the history of the term dreadlocks and how it came about, then it would be a sense of pride to you if you really knew it. And we're going to get into that in a minute. Now, because me researching the term dreadlocks, I do try to train myself to say locks more, not because I'm offended by the term dreadlocks, but because I don't want to offend anyone else. Like I said, it's not a lifestyle for me. It's a hairstyle, you know. It's a hairstyle for this 4C hair that is just crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, if we really knew the history behind it, if we really knew where this term came from, then we wouldn't be offended by it. There would be a sense of pride, like, that's what I'm compared to, and it's not something bad. It's not bad. What you choose to call your hair, again, it's just personal preference. You know, if you don't like calling your hair that, even after this video, that's fine. I'm not trying to tell you what to call your hair. I just want to give you the facts. Now, one thing that I did notice is that the term dreads, dreadlocks, and locks, it can be cultural because what the term dreadlocks, because it's offensive to some people in Western culture, may not be offensive to others in Jamaican culture. So that's why we have to be so careful when we snap about saying there's nothing dreadful about my locks, because depending on what that person's culture is, dreadlock may not be you may actually end up offending them. Story time again. I actually encountered this young man at this store, Family Dollar, and he was dressed in all white. He had a white turban on, big white turban on his head, but you can tell he had a lot of hair under that turban. So some kind of way we ended up sparking up a conversation, and he ended up actually walking me out the store, and he continued to talk to me, with me being Christian, him being I can't remember if he said he was a black Hebrew or black Israelite. I can't remember what it was, but we ended up talking about the Bible. We talked about different little things on the Bible, and then some kind of way the conversation ended up going left, and I was like, okay, so let me just stop this right here. And so I said, how long is your hair? I said, it looks like you have really, really long hair up under that. And his hair came down to his waist, from what he told me. And I was like, I don't ever know if I can let my dreads get that long. He explained to me that was a part of his Nazarite vow, that no hair, no razor ever touch his head. Of course, we know the story of Samson. And then he corrected me. He was like, your hair is not dreads or dreadlocks. He said, your hair is called locks. And he was like, because your hair is a lifestyle. Your hair is a hairstyle, and my hair is a lifestyle. So that's why my hair is called dreadlocks, and your hair is called locks. And so the duration of the conversation, I referred to my hair as locks. I was very, very careful, because I did not want to offend him, because that was his culture. So that's why I say, we really have to be careful about getting so mad about the terms, because it can mean one thing to one culture and it can mean something else to another culture. And when we get into the history, I'm going to talk about what it means to other cultures as well. I do just want to say that we need to start researching things for ourselves instead of regurgitating something that we saw online or something that we heard someone say without actually researching it for ourselves. At the end of this video, we may not even agree, but at least you'll have, at least we had a discussion, so make sure you comment down in the comment section below. So now, let me give you a little bit. The first part is going to be my personal experience with the term dreadlocks. Now, I'm an Army brat. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I don't even remember Hawaii. We were so young when I left there. We moved to Nuremberg, Germany. That's what I remember. That's, my earliest memories are from Nuremberg, Germany. So with living in Germany, there weren't a lot of people who looked like us. Well, I'm telling my age now, but thank God for the years. I'm still here. This was in the 80s and the 90s when we were actually in Germany. So I don't remember seeing anyone with, locks or dreadlocks over there in Germany. I did not begin to see this hair until we moved to Georgia. When we moved to Georgia, all people call them here is dreads. Since the first time I knew about this hair, I was exposed to this hair, it had been called dreads or dreadlocks. So when I started my dreads or locks, whatever you prefer to call them, when I started them back in 2017, all I knew was the term dreads. So I never have any, I'm just going to sit back and kind of get relaxed. I never have any luck with Facebook groups. I just don't have a lot of luck with them. So with this situation here, I actually joined I joined a few Facebook groups that focus on dreads. And that's exactly what I typed in to find the groups. I typed in the word dreads or dreadlocks. And so I joined the groups, and I never really commented, because what I wanted was, there was no one around me who was going through that ugly stage, that awkward stage. No one around me, and I did not know what was going on with my hair. Now, I had different people who I follow on YouTube, but I didn't have anyone that I could actually talk to about what was actually going on with my hair. So I decided to join Facebook groups. This is when I had Facebook back in 2017. I never have any good experiences in Facebook groups, from the parent groups to the lock groups. I just don't have good experiences in Facebook groups. Anyway, with that being said, I wasn't a person that commented a lot. I would kind of lurk and hide in the background, like photos and everything, but I never commented because people can be really mean, and I didn't want to draw any attention to myself. So it was one woman who posted a picture of her. she had the most gorgeous dreads I've ever seen, or locks I've ever seen. They were absolutely gorgeous. And so I'm like, I have to comment. I have to let her know. So I commented, your dreads are gorgeous. I had gorgeous in all caps with exclamation points, and I think I might have had some heart emojis. I started beginning to get all these different kind of notifications, and I'm talking about I had so many comments on my comment that, and almost, I would say 99.9% of the comments said, there's nothing dreadful about your hair. There's nothing dreadful about her hair. Learn your history. You know, things like that. And I'm like, what? Because I really didn't understand. Because like I said, since we moved to the States, that's all I knew was dreads and dreadlocks. I didn't understand why everyone was so upset. And it was clear that people were upset about me using this term. And that's what I want to say is, I don't mind being corrected. If, you know, I just don't mind being corrected. If I'm wrong, I don't know everything. I can make it sound like I know everything, but I actually, honestly, just to be honest with you guys, I don't know everything. So I don't mind getting corrected. I went to some other people's pages because I'm like, hold on, who is this? With these all caps hollering at me. Who is this person? And so I went to some of their pages, the ones that didn't have their pages private, or the things that they didn't have private on their page. And I noticed how they had like memes and things like that use the B word, the H or the W word, whichever one you want to use, and use the N word. You don't have a problem with the B word. You don't have a problem with the H or W word, but you have a problem with the term dreadlocks. You don't have a problem with calling, you know, our men, our brothers, N-words, but you have a problem with the term dreadlocks. Like, something doesn't make sense. Like, make it make sense to me, because that doesn't make sense. And so what I did, I commented to some people. I was like, no, there isn't, but there is something dreadful about your attitude. And that's what it is for me. It's the attitude behind it for me. No one that has ever corrected me about the term dreadlock has ever been nice about it. It has always been in a very brash, harsh type way, a bunch of stuff that just, I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? So, I think that it's all about intent, because like I said, we're from different areas. I'm from everywhere, you know, I'm from everywhere. I was just moving around. I'm an Army baby. I call Georgia my home because that's where I have been for the longest. And here in Georgia, since day one of me being introduced to this type of hair, the term dread or dreadlocks was used. The term locks, that didn't come around until recently for me. So I think it's intent. I think that if someone is calling your hair something that you don't want your hair called, but they have intent or good intent behind it, what doesn't matter? Like, it shouldn't be this whole thing where we're fighting and we're arguing about what to call this hair. If we know the main intention behind it is a good intention, there was no way that you'll be able to misconstrue my intent behind that comment calling her hair gorgeous with exclamation points and heart emojis. There was no way that you can misconstrue that I meant something good behind that. There was no ill will behind that. So I think people just need to chill, really just chill. And with that being said, we're going to go into society, the second section, which is society and laws on this hair. I think that we really focus too much on what we call this hair amongst ourselves. We fight each other, we fall out with each other, we check each other, we read each other on what we decide to call this hair, when it really doesn't matter, because society-wise, when they see us with this hair, some people still think this hair just has negative connotation to it. When you have dreads or dreadlocks or locks, whatever you prefer to call them, it has a negative connotation. It is 2021, and people still think that we don't wash our hair. People think that when you have dreadlocks, you automatically are a pothead, you're unprofessional, you're dirty, you're a criminal, you're ghetto, you're a thug. People automatically associate these terms with having this hair. It really doesn't matter what we call it amongst ourselves. We need to put that energy into getting laws on the books and educating people on this hair. Like I said, it's 2021 and people still think we don't wash our hair. I mean, some people don't, but most of us, we know we need to wash our hair. It's nasty. If you don't wash your hair, that's nasty. Go wash your hair. Stop this video right now and go wash your hair. Come back to it later. But, let me stop. So we're arguing about what we call them amongst each other when we can be refused employment because we have these in our head. Like, come on, get priorities right, people. Okay, let's stop it. He is so, I gotta take my Apple Watch off. He is so attracted to my Apple Watch. It is not even funny. So if you have dreadlocks and locks, I'm pretty sure you know the case of Chastity Jones. Name may not be familiar, but once we start talking about the case, I know you'll know about it. Now, Chastity Jones was a young woman in Alabama who applied for a job for catastrophe management solutions. It was a call center job, so no one would have seen her. She actually passed the interview process. Her resume was accepted, her application was accepted, passed the interview process. When it was time for her to visit human resources after she had received the job, you know how when you first start a job, you have to go through human resources and sign all the tax paperwork and things like that. So that's what she was doing. She was visiting HR. She had already had, let me re-emphasize this, she had already had the job, had been hired, offered the position, was in human resources. The human resource representative told her about changing her hair and said, they do tend to get messy. Not saying that yours are, but you know what I mean. And so because she refused to change her hair, either I don't know what they wanted her to do. If they wanted her to cut it off, if they wanted her to put a wig over, I don't know. But because she refused to change her hair, her job offer was rescinded because of her hair. What are you getting excited about? You get mad about this too? You get mad about this too? I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It is ridiculous. Can you say ridiculous? That wasn't it. They actually feed a lot off of my energy, so when I start getting overly excited, they start getting excited as well. So I'm going to try to calm it down a little bit. It's pretty hard. They said it was against their grooming policies because the hair tend to get messy, which I didn't understand, because if they were worried about, outside people seeing her, she was interviewed for the job. She had a job and knew what kind of hair she had. It was a call center job. So it's not like she had to deal with the public anyway. Now, 2013, the U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission, it actually filed a claim that she was discriminated against because of her being an African-American woman with dreadlocks. The federal courts actually denied the claim because they said that it's not racial discrimination, because racial discrimination is based on traits like skin color, and a hairstyle is not considered as discrimination because a hairstyle can be changed. So that's how they were able to get around the whole rule. Like I said, while we're arguing amongst each other what we decide to call this hair, we need to be focusing on things like that. Had another incident. We're going to talk about Mr. Andrew Johnson. And again, you may not just know the name right off the top of your head, but once we talk about it, you will actually remember this. There was a lot of social media outrage regarding this. In December of 2018, Andrew Johnson was at a wrestling match. And he had his dreadlocks since he was in middle school. He's in high school now. And the referee there, not his coaches, but the referee there told him that he had 10 seconds to cut his hair or to forfeit the wrestling match. So in front of everyone in the gym, they just took some regular scissors and cut this little boy's hair. Just cut his hair. Matter of fact, I may be able to find a clip of this. Let me just show it to you guys.
Disgust tonight over this video now circulating the internet of this moment of humiliation. New Jersey high school wrestler Andrew Johnson having his dreadlocks cut by a trainer before a match. He was forced to have his hair cut by a referee in order to compete or forfeit the match. It's standard for wrestlers with long hair to have the option to cover their heads, but the referee, Alan Maloney, would not allow it.
His hair's always been like that, so for them to now bring it up is out of line.
The Buena Superintendent of Schools releasing this statement today. The referee will no longer be permitted to officiate any contests that include any Buena Regional School District student athletes. Johnson's win propelling his team to victory. But with a split lip and reluctant raise of his hand, he walks off the mat looking as if he'd just been defeated.
You can see at the end of the clip just the hurt, even though he won his match, just that hurt and the embarrassment in his face. And he went to talk about later how he had his sister, he went home and he got his sister to cut the rest of the hair off, because every time he looked in the mirror, he saw the referee, and he said that he was tired of being treated differently for having that type of hair, and it's like his hair had was causing trouble. And so you can read more about it. I'll put links down in the description box below. I don't want this video to be too long. Now, I know a lot of people out there like, well, I wouldn't have let them cut my hair. I would have just, I wouldn't have participated or whatever, because, you know, he was a good wrestler. He helped the school. I mean, he wanted his match. But you have to realize he's in high school, and a lot of high school kids, they do get scholarships for wrestling. So you don't know if that would have affected his college future. You don't know if there was a scout in the audience and he knew about it, a scout that came to see him. We don't know what that situation was, so we can't just say what a high school kid would do. In hindsight, we can make opinions, but a high school kid, this may be, you know, a way for him to get a scholarship. Maybe he couldn't afford to not participate in a wrestling match. We don't know, because I saw a lot of people say that, but we don't know what we would do in that situation. He could have had an opportunity for a full ride at the school based on how he wrestled. I'm going to tell you about one more incident. This one is going to be a 2-for-1. Now, there are two cousins, one named Katie and one named DeAndre. They actually attended Barbers Hill Independent School District, and this is one of the highest rated school districts in Texas. So both KB and DeAndre, they both have been growing their locks since middle school. So DeAndre was actually told that if he did not cut his locks, he would not be able to attend his graduation. So the school that they attended, they actually had a school policy that your hair could not fall past a certain length. So what KB and DeAndre's mothers would do is they would actually braid their hair down and then pin it back so their hair wouldn't be on past their earlobes and it would not be on their collar. They were actually in compliance of what the school guideline was. Their hair was not touching their collar and their hair was not falling past their ear. Now, DeAndre's father was Trinidadian, and they actually paid homage to their Trinidadian culture. So that's why they actually wore their hair that way. Mid-year of the 2019 to 2020 school year, they actually made changes to the grooming policy to where these boys, these young men, they could not get around the policy unless they cut their hair. So I can't remember the exact wording. I put it up somewhere, but it was changed from, you know, touching to when your hair is down, that it's not touching. So the whole pinning up thing, it didn't matter. So no matter how neat it looked being pinned up, they didn't want them to have this hair off. Because they wouldn't cut their hair, they were actually barred from regular school classes. They couldn't interact with their peers. They couldn't interact with their teachers. They were forced into in-school suspension. ISS is what we used to call it. KB was an avid trombone player. He couldn't even play the trombone with his school band anymore. KB was banned from his graduation. He couldn't even attend his own graduation. But that wasn't enough. Eventually, they were expelled from a school that they had known their entire lives and had to go to a new school mid-year. So this is DeAndre, who is his senior year. His senior year, he couldn't even complete it with his friends that he had been going to school with for the last 4 years. He had to go to a new school. Like, this was just, to me, this was cruel and it was damaging, because what you did was you did not allow these boys to attend regular activities. You know, they couldn't interact with their friends. It's just, you know, it was damaging. So you can imagine if you've been somewhere your entire life, you've known these people your entire life, and all of a sudden, you know, they're just gone. You can't interact with them anymore. That's heartbreaking. All because of this hair. I didn't mean to hit my head like that. I don't know why I did that, because that kind of hurt a little bit. But all because of this hair. So I can go on and on and on about these different situations. I just want to just point out those two, because those are really widely known. There are so many kids who go to, like, especially private schools and charter schools, who are ostracized because of their hair. There are incidences where kids have been kicked out of school, like, you can't go to school here unless you cut your hair. You know, there is a situation where grooming policy, the handbook grooming policy had actually been changed just to target a specific young woman at a school because she had dreadlocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put links to these stories in the description box below. Like I said, more of the energy needs to go towards into fighting each other about. It really doesn't matter what we call amongst ourselves if we still lose out on jobs, if we still lose out on positions, if our kids can't be educated, get kicked out of school, if our kids can't have an opportunity to participate in sporting events that can potentially be beneficial for their future. Doesn't matter what we call them amongst ourselves if we have this other fight that we're fighting on the outside just by having this hair. So I do want to talk about, you know, the Crown Act. What the Crown Act is I can't remember what the acronym stands for. But the Crown Act, it is to get these laws off the books and put laws on the books through legislation that will help people not to be discriminated against because of their hair. Now it is, we know Miss Stacey Abrams, we know her, especially if you live in Georgia, you know Stacey Abrams. So she is actually fighting for this as well. So she's associated with the Crown Act. As of 2020, only 3 states, I had to make sure I had the right number of fingers up. Only 3 states have implemented the Crown Act. That is New York, New Jersey, and of course, are we surprised, California. And there are only 22 more states that are considering it. So that means only half of the country is considering putting laws on the books that will protect people with this type of hair to be able to get jobs, to be able to get into schools, to be able to participate in sporting events. There is only half the country that's even considering it. But we argue about what we're going to call amongst ourselves. It just don't make sense to me. Alright, so I had to put Casper away because he was just being way too distracted in this video. So, because I want to go ahead and get through it because my chest and his cough is, I'm struggling, y'all, I'm struggling. But we're going to get through this. So the next section we're going to talk about terms. Now, y'all not going to like me for this. Y'all not going to like me for this. But upon researching, the main people that I find who have a problem with the term dreads or dreadlocks are black women. Research it. Look it up for yourself. Everything I'm telling you in this video, look it up for yourself. And it's mostly black women who have a problem with dreadlocks. So I'm like, I need another cough drop. Hold on. So I'm like, if the term is that negative, why don't other cultures have a problem with the term dreadlocks? Why don't black men have a problem with the term dreadlocks? It's only black women who seem to have the biggest problem with the term dreadlocks because, you know, even as I'm here in Georgia, like I was out in the yard one day, like I said, I rarely wear my hair down, but I had my hair down because it was, when I wash my hair, I like to let it air dry in the sun. I like to go sit outside and let it dry that way. And so I was outside in the yard doing some things and I had my hair down. And this guy was like, hey, your dreads are hard. And I'm like, thank you. And so, yeah, men just don't tend to have problems with dreads. Like even some YouTubers that I see online, men, they refer to their hair as dreads. It's mostly women who have the problem with it. I have never complimented a male's hair and called his hair dreads and he has gotten an attitude with me. Never has happened. Never ever has happened. So I noticed with women, it's not only with dreads, it's with a lot of terms that it's with terms that define like us and our culture. Like we have the same thing with afros. No one says afro anymore. Everyone says natural now. The same thing. No one says dreadlocks anymore. We grew up on the term dreadlocks. No one says dreadlocks anymore. It's all locks now. No one says afro anymore. It's all natural now. Which I still say afro. I wanted to, this really disturbed me. And I want to look into it and I want to see why we as women have such a problem with the term dreadlocks. And boy, when I say I went down a rabbit hole, I went down a rabbit hole. I found that the term locks was originally used to define Caucasian hair. It wasn't, the term locks was not used to define our hair. The term locks was used to define white people's hair, Caucasian people's hair, Eurocentric hair, whatever term you want to use, it wasn't meant for us. But so I'm like, why is it that, is it like subconsciously we don't want to be associated with it? I don't know, but anyway, let's get into it. We got Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We have on Shrek 2, I believe it was Shrek 2, Shrek 2, where they talked about Prince Charming, where it says he had golden locks of hair. You have the character on the Fairly Odd Parents. Don't act like I'm the only person to know what the Fairly Odd Parents is. 37, I still remember Fairly Odd Parents. But there was a character that they had on there named Goldilocks. There was the book, the fair one with the golden locks. Cinderella was known. It was said to have golden locks. There was the book or the little series that was called Goldilocks and the Three Pirates. So that's just a couple examples. I can go on and on and on and on and on about how even when they talk about Taylor Swift, they say Taylor Swift has golden locks of hair. So when the term locks is used, it's used to talk about Eurocentric hair, but we want to take on that term for ourselves. When we have a term that is our term, we want to, get a second-hand term that was used to describe someone else's hair and just try to take their term. Like, why? Why? It's like we're always trying to conform. Always trying to conform. And I know, I can hear you, boy, I hear you typing. I can see y'all down in the comments, y'all about to light me up. We took the K off of it though. It's still the same word. It's still the same word. So just looking at the term dreadlocks, let's say that it was you. I didn't find anything historically accurate to say. I found blogs when people said it, but I found nothing historically accurate that said that the term dreadlocks was used because the slave owners had the black people on the ships and they said that their hair was dreadful. I mean, when you're degrading someone, would you use the term dreadful when it just doesn't make sense to me. And I could not find anything historically accurate that proved that. If you did, please correct me. Please let me know. I welcome it. But I myself, like I said, I went down another rabbit hole and I could not find it. I just couldn't find it. So, and let's say that it is a term that's supposed to be a derogatory term, but look at the term N-word. I don't use the term N-word. I don't like the word. Don't like it. I'm not gonna say that I haven't used it before, but I refrain from using that word. Now that word, even though that is a very derogatory term. We all know historically that is a derogatory term. That's in the history books. We know that. But what did we do? We took it and we made it as a term of endearment. We used it to, define, use it as a word for a friend. We use it as a word for a homie. We use it as a word for a significant other, boyfriend. That's what we use it for. So why can't we do the same thing with the term dreadlocks? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand how we can get so upset about the term dreadlocks, but just be okay with the N-word. Like, help me figure that out, please, y'all. Help me figure that out, because that doesn't make sense to me. So first, we're going to look at the term from the online etymology dictionary. Between my lisp and these cough drop, I'm struggling to say etymology. But the online etymology dictionary. So we're just going to look directly at the term from that there.
Dreadlock is defined in the online etymology dictionary as rope-like strands of hair formed by the matting or braiding in 1960 from the word dread, which is an adjective, and also combined with the word locks, which is a noun. This style is said to be based on that of East African warriors, so called from the dread they presumably aroused in beholders. But Rastafarian dread in 1974 also has a sense of fear of the Lord, expressed in part as alienation from contemporary society.
Nothing about slave owners using it to be dreadful. So let's just look at the word dread, because people say there's nothing dreadful about your hair. Let's just break down the first portion of the word in dreadlock is dread. So it means, we're just going to look at good old Merriam-Webster.
All right, so we have to fear greatly, to regard with awe, to feel extreme reluctance, to meet or face. And then we also have here to be apprehensive or fearful. So I also want to look into the online etymology dictionary to see how they define the term dreadlocks. And they have great fear or apprehension, cause or object of apprehension, also dreaded or frightful, and hold in awe. So yeah, let's look at the term dreadful now. Alright, so with dreadful we have full of dread or fear, timid, causing dread, exciting terror, weakened sense of very bad.
And when I put in, look at the definition for locks of hair, a bunch of white people came up, y'all. We didn't come up. White people came up. Just saying. Alright, so last but not least, let's get into the history of the term dreadlocks. Not the actual hairstyle itself or the lifestyle itself, but the actual term dreadlocks. It's going to be a lot. So just try to hang in there with me. I'm going to try to stay on task. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. I do want to say that there is no way that I can cover everything in this section. I'm going to try to condense it down, but still, have a lot of information in here. When it comes to the term dreadlocks, people always say there's nothing dreadful about my locks. And they say the reason that they chose... And they say the reason that they choose not to call their hair dreadlocks is because of the slave trade. The slaves that was brought over from Africa, they had no way to dress their hair. They had no hygiene whatsoever on the bottom of the ships. So it said that their hair had vomit in it, feces in it, and of course, when you don't comb hair, it naturally begins to mat together. Let me skip some time brushing my Shih Tzu. She will end up matting together. So this is how the story goes from what people have been saying. I personally have not found anything historically accurate to support this. I found blogs, I found things where people have, typed up like research papers. There was nothing historically cited about it. So I'm like, did this really happen, or is this just something that someone came up with? Because when I think about if a person's hair looks bad or looks nasty or anything like that, dreadful is not typically a term that you would hear people use. And plus you got a bunch of southerners or whatever. I'm a southerner. Dreadful is not really a term that you hear people use to describe when something looks unpleasing. It's really not a term that I hear people use often. And so that also led me to believe, like, is that really happening? But historically, I have not found anything, since I've been researching this, I have not found anything historically accurate to support that. So I can't say that that really happened. So earlier in this video, I did talk about how, the term dreadlocks, locks, and dreads it is cultural. And so for some cultures, like the Western culture, we consider it, or y'all consider it, as offensive. And with some cultures, like the Jamaican culture, it is not an offensive term. Now, with that being said, I did come across an article written by Ariane. She's the editor-in-chief at blacknaps.com. So she did write an article called Dreadlocks and Locks, What's the Difference? There will be a link to the entire article in the description box below. I'm just going to read, certain snippets. So here's what she says. Now, where are people getting this negative feeling from the word dreadlock? I was curious about the feeling. When I had dreadlocks or locks, I had no problem calling them either or, and I wonder about the negativity behind them. So I decided to ask my father, who was born and raised in Jamaica. Through this conversation, I discovered Jamaicans use the term dread as a term of respect, just like you would use sir to address someone you are not familiar with and would like to show respect to. Jamaican patois, I love that word, Jamaican patois definitions of dread is a person who has dreads, greeting to a friend, expression or idea, awe or astonishment. Now, here's where the confusion sets in. Dreadful power of the holy. Now, this Jamaican patois definition is derived from its religious roots that dreadlocks have. People feared and respected those who wore dreadlocks. Those who were associated with dreadlocks were thought to be holy, was thought as holy and powerful. They were thought to have this spiritual connectedness which derived with the divine that separated them from others. If you were even to speak with a present-day yogi, they would tell you that their journey separates them from the world around them. So now that is from someone whose father was born and raised in Jamaica. So to them, it is not a bad term. Dread doesn't mean a bad term. Dread is a term of respect. So I think that when we so quickly say there's nothing dreadful about my hair, we really have to be careful, because we could be actually insulting another culture, because for them that's a term of respect. One thing I can say is this was not an easy topic to research, because it took so much to try to find out exactly when the first term dreadlock was used. Now, there were two that I found that seems to be the most probable dread based on different sources that I found. The first one that I want to talk about is the Mao Mao from Kenya. Now, I was about to say tribe, but they're not really considered as a tribe. They're more of a military collective, and you can actually look up. I'm not going to go into everything, but you can actually look up the Mao Mao rebellion or revolt. There's so much of our history that we don't know about. Like, we know about the Holocaust, we know about like the Chinese internment camps, we know about things like that. But researching the Mao Mao rebellion and the Mao Mao revolts, it really opened my eyes to even more things that Black people have endured over the years that's really not talked about. Because I thought I was someone that just knew a lot about African American history. I guess I do know a lot about African American history, but when it comes to actual African history, I did not know about this. And I'm ashamed to say that I didn't know about this, but I really spent a lot of time researching this. And this again seems more than the more probable origin stories of the word dreadlocks. What the Mao Mao warriors would do, they would actually use their locks as a form of intimidation for the British rule. So the story goes is what they would do is they would hide in the mountains, they would hide in the jungles, and they would, jump out and surprise the British when they came, to try to do what they did, to oppress them. They would actually jump out and surprise, attack them. So it said the British feared these warriors, and just the sight of their locks instilled dread in the heart of the British. Thus the term dreadlocks. Now, photos of the Mao Mao Rebellion, they actually reached Jamaica in around the 1950s. And so this had a really big impact on the Rastafarian movement and how they chose to wear their hair as well, the dreadlocks. So we're going to talk about the Rastafarian movement in just a second, but just to talk about the Mao Mao. Mao Mao, yes, the term dread was used to describe their hair. There's dreadlocks, but it was used to, as the dictionary said, fear. It instilled fear in people. It wasn't meant to be a negative term like ugly or nasty or anything like that. It instilled fear in the people. Thus that term was coined, dreadlocks. I need to stop. The Mao Mao were the reason that the Mao Mao is the reason that those Mao Mao warriors who you don't want your hair to be called the same thing that their hair was called, they are the main reason for the independence of Kenya. The main reason. Now, when you look it up, now this was something that wasn't easy for me to research. When you look it up, usually I think his name was Jomo Kenyatta. He's usually credited for the freedom of Kenya, but no, it was the Mao Mao warriors who actually helped to free Kenya. Like I said, we talk about the Holocaust, and sometimes we talk about Japanese internment camps, but look up the Mao Mao Rebellion and it will open your eyes to a lot of things. And maybe you won't be so sensitive about having your hair called dreadlocks, because them having this type of hair and those having that warrior spirit they had, it helped to free the entire nation of Kenya. Around the 1950s is when the photos of the Mao Mao Rebellion actually reached Jamaica. And this rebellion actually had a lot to do with the rise of the Rastafarian movement. A lot of the followers of Leonard Howard, they actually took pride in seeing those news clippings. So with seeing this hair that the Mao Mao had, and them taking so much, and them like, oh, they're fighting for their country. Look at that, they're freeing the people. They're not taking this oppression anymore. They found it as a symbol of both anti-colonialism and a demonstration of self-love and self-acceptance, while at the same time inflicting dread on Babylon. I just want to say this here. I am talking about the Rastafarian movement. My hair has nothing to do with Rastafarianism. My hair has nothing to do with my religious belief. I am a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Just talking about the history of this, and when I see it, and when I see black people just like the Mao Mao, how they just fought back, like stuff like that, it actually excites me. But don't think that I'm a Rastafarian. I'm not a Rastafarian. I am a Christian, and I'm just gonna leave it like that. Before the industrial era, dreadlocks were rarely seen outside of India. At the turn of the 20th century, a socio-religious group formed in Harlem, New York. It was formed by Marcus Garvey, and he had a lot of enthusiastic people that began to follow him. Now, the followers of Marcus Garvey, they actually called themselves Dreads, and they call themselves Dreads because it signified that they had a fear, respect, or reverence for God. Because they wanted to emulate the Hindu and Nazarite holy men, the Dreads began to grow their hair into these long matted locks. You get where I'm going with this? No, the hair became known as dreadlocks, the hairstyle of the dread. The group then began to focus their attention more on the Ethiopian Emperor Rastafari, Haile Selassie. Thus, the Rastafarian movement was born on the western side, and the term dreadlock just stuck. So those are two origin stories of the term dreadlocks. I actually believe both of them actually tie together. From my understanding is that the Mao Mao is where it came from, and the Rastafarians just kind of what the Rastafarians did, they made it more famous and more known on the western side of it. So yeah, but there's so much more that goes into it. I found so much more information, but like I said, I do not want this video to be, I feel like this video is probably going to be about an hour long. I don't want it to be over an hour. I don't want it to be over at least 45 minutes. So hopefully I got enough information in here, but I'm going to have links in the description box below of all this information that I found, and some things that I wasn't able to include in this video that will be in the description box below as well. And just let me know what you think. I mean, like I said, I don't know everything. I've been researching this for a while, but I could have missed something. So if you have something else, just make sure you let me know down in the comment section below. Email me, whatever, and I will do a retraction, or I'll do a correction, because like I said, I don't know everything. But like, I've been searching this for so long, I believe I got it right in this video. But if I didn't, just let me know. And I want historical sources, not blogs, not little essays that people have done and haven't cited any historical sites to prove this. We can say anything, but I'm all about where is the proof. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate you spending this time with me today. You don't realize how much it means to me, especially when you go through a long video like this. So if you stay to the end of the video, please let me know down in the comment section below. You are my new best friend. Thank you so much for watching. And as usual, toodaloo. Bye-bye.